Our topic today is the order of operations. The central question is, when you have an equation with no variables, what's the order you need to use to get the answer? So here's the definition of the order of operations. And you're going to use this order to perform operations when there's no variable in the problem. So when there's no, letters representing unknown numbers, you want to use this order. And this order is important so that, because it's consistent throughout the entire world. Because if you perform the incorrect order in math problems, then you could possibly get a different answer than somebody else. Okay, so always use the order of operations. Here is the order of operations. The first thing you're going to do when you're given, math problem, like you'll see on the back, is you want to start with grouping symbols. And these are grouping symbols right here. So if you see something with parentheses, you're going to do that first. Or if there's a square root, looks like that, you'll do that first. If there's absolute values or if there's brackets. Those grouping symbols need to go first. You perform what's inside of them first before moving on, okay? Then after that, after you've done grouping symbols, then you're going to move on to exponents. Now, if there were no grouping symbols at all, then you'd move on to exponents first, okay? Exponents are also known as powers. Then after that, or if there's none of those, then you'd move on to multiplication and division from left to right. Okay, so when you're looking at the problem, you're going to start from the left and then go to the right. So if there's division first over here, then you want to do that first. Multiplication and division go hand in hand, but whatever's further to the left, you want to start with that first as you're solving that problem. Then after you've gone through all these three, then you're going to add and subtract from left to right. And that's very important that you go left to right. So if there's some sort of subtraction further to the left, you want to go with that first. And just go left to right, okay? So in the past, you probably heard of the acronym PEMDAS to remember this order. But we want to change it to GEMDAS to account for all grouping symbols. All right, that's where we get the G. So instead of PEMDAS, like you might have heard in the past, you're going to say GEMDAS to remember it. And that's where we get those letters. Okay. All right, I have a sentence starter that I want you to start with for your summary, okay? I understand that the order of operations is important because, and you're going to finish that sentence. If you don't do that, then I'm not going to give you any points for your summary. So you'll finish this sentence. Okay? And then your second sentence starter that I want you to write in your summary, after you finish that, I want you to finish this sentence. This is the order I must use when solving an equation that has no variables. And write down what the order is. Okay, flip to the back, and this is where we're going to practice using the order of operations, okay? So it says solve these equations, and there are 6 of them, and a good idea is for you to do is to maybe do the first one with me and then pause the video and see how you do, okay? Because that's a way that you can study for math. Off to the left-hand side, I'm going to just write the acronym. And this is a strategy you can use so that you know the order and you know that you're checking it off accurately. So we're going to start with grouping symbols first. I see a grouping symbol right there. So you want to rewrite everything after you kind of simplified that grouping symbol. So 4 plus a negative 7 is negative 3. And then rewrite everything just like you see it, but the only change would be is that instead of writing that entire thing in the parentheses, you're writing down the simplified version of that, okay? And I'm writing it right underneath. So we did the grouping symbol. Next we'll do exponents, and I don't see any exponents, so I'm just going to check the box. Now we're going to multiply and divide from left to right. Okay? So I see multiplication right here. 4 times a negative 2 is negative 8. And then right here, oh, this is also multiplication. When it's smushed right next to there, that's negative 2 times a negative 3, which is a positive 6. Okay? And now this is a new problem. It's so simplified now from what it used to be. Now we're going to add and subtract from left to right. So negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2. Next problem. Again, start with this over here, GEMDAs. Grouping symbols first. And there's a lot of grouping symbols I see right here. So do what's in those grouping symbols first. 8 plus 2 is 10. And then rewrite everything just like you see it. Oh, the square root of 25 is 5. Okay. Plus absolute value of negative 3 is 3. Okay, so we got those grouping symbols taken care of. Check that box. Next thing is exponents. And I see 2 to the third power. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Okay, and rewrite everything like you see it. All right, now multiply and divide from left to right. I don't see any multiplication or division. So I'm going to check the box. Add and subtract from left to right. So this right here is really just negative 10. So negative 10 plus 8 is negative 2. Negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. Negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. All right, next problem. Looks a little bit more challenging, but write your thing on the side. Grouping symbols first, and you see that there's parentheses right there, but it's just a 3, so I can't really do anything with that 3, so I'm going to leave it alone. Oh, right here's a grouping symbol. I see brackets. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw an arrow, and I'm going to simplify it over there. So that's 5 squared minus 2, and then I have brackets, and I gotta do what's in there. So 2 squared is 4 minus a negative 3, which is basically like plus 3. Okay, and then everything on the top. And don't forget that right there, okay? Well, I'm not quite done with that grouping symbols because I see that I can simplify it even more. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's see. So 48 divided by 6 plus 4 times 3 squared divided by 5 squared minus 2 times this is 7. Okay? And it's kind of hard to see, so now I'm going to keep going here. Now I have exponents. And I have 3 squared, so I'm going to rewrite everything, and I'm going to write it down here. Now, sorry about that. 48 divided by 6 plus 3 to the plus 4 times 3 to the second power. 3 to the second power is 9. Okay. And then now the bottom, it's 5 squared minus 2 times 7. So 5 squared is 25. Minus 2 times 7. Okay, got that. Now multiply and divide from left to right. So I'm going to start with this right here. Multiply and divide from left to right. 48 divided by 6 is 8. Plus 4 times 9 is 36. Okay, and then 25. Negative 2 times 7. Or minus 2 times 7 is a minus 14 or negative 14. Okay, now it says add and subtract from left to right. So I'm just going to go straight across like that. 8 plus 36 is 44. 25 minus 14 is 11. Okay. And you'll probably see there is a fraction as the answer, but we can simplify that even further. 44 divided by 11 is 4. Next problem. Grouping symbols. So I see right there 5 minus 3 is 2, so rewrite everything like you see it. But the only thing that was different is I simplified that in the parentheses, and now it's a 2, okay? Now exponents. Don't get ahead of yourself here. You gotta do exponents. This is this is a really good example of how you would totally get it wrong if you didn't follow the order of operations. And I know some of you out there might have tried to work, probably worked ahead, and you might have found this mistake. you got to do this right here first because that's what's next. So 2 squared is 4. So it's 20 plus 3 times 4. Okay? And next up is multiply and divide from left to right. So don't you dare add that yet. You can't because you have to, this is multiplication. You have to do that first. So it's really 20 plus 3 times 4 is 12. Okay? Now add and subtract from left to right. 20 plus 12 is 32. Next problem. Grouping symbols right here. So, there's a grouping symbol and a grouping symbol. So 1 minus 5 is negative 4. So this is really 13 minus a negative 4. And then plus 4. Okay, I'm still not done with grouping symbols because I have to simplify that. So it's 2 times 13 minus a negative 4 is actually 17. Okay, now I can cross that off. Exponents, I don't see any. Now multiply and divide from left to right. This right here is multiplication. 2 times 17 is 34. Now add and subtract from left to right. 34 plus 4 is 38. Last one. Okay, grouping symbols. So 6 plus 4 is 10. There's a grouping symbol right there. 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay? And got that. No exponents. No exponents. Multiply and divide from left to right. So right here is 3 times 10 is 30. Times 2, that is actually 60. And there was no addition or subtraction, so that's our answer. Okay? So don't forget to write a summary. What I want you to do right here is I want you to pick which problem was the most challenging for you, and I want you to resolve it. Okay? So if number 3 was the most challenging for you, I want you to write number 3, rewrite the problem, and solve it. Solve it. Okay? Your answer should match up with what is up here. Okay? If you skip that part, you're not getting points. Have a good day. Bye.